Okay friends, it's time to get started on replacing our driver's side mirror. To do that, we're going to have to go ahead and remove the door panel. To remove the door panel, we're going to start right here along the window switch area. For this, there's going to be 3 push tabs. There's one right along here, one approximately here, and then another one up there. Now to gain access to this, I'm going to use a small screwdriver, and I'm just going to carefully get in between this area just enough to pry it up so I can use my plastic trim tool so I don't have to worry about marring anything along the way. Let's go ahead and slide our way down. Looking from the back side of the switch, you can see an orange tab. We're going to squeeze that orange tab upward and away from the switch itself. That'll unlock it, and we can remove it, give it a quick inspection to make sure we don't see any corrosion. That looks good. Let's set the switch aside. Behind this area right here, there's going to be one mounting screw. Let's go ahead and take that out. To get this out of here, let's use a T27 Torx bit. It essentially looks a lot like a star. Let's carefully remove that screw using a magnet. Now we need to make our way down to the bottom of the door. You're going to find one T20 Torx screw. Essentially, once again, it's going to look a lot like a star. Now let's make our way in between this area right here, and we're just going to gently start popping it out of its placement. That exposes one of our mounting screws. Use our T27 for this. Now that we have all that out of the way, let's move along to this area. There's a little plastic panel that makes its way all the way down and around here, and we actually need to pop this open, and you're going to find one more T20 screw right inside here. There we are. Now you can go ahead and pull this out as far as you feel as though you need to, but generally about this far is just enough. As you look inside there, you can find that screw. We'll go ahead and pull it right out. Let's use my magnet. I can grab that. There it is. Let's continue with our plastic trim tool, and we're going to carefully get in between the panel and the door itself. Once we're in between, just go ahead and gently start prying. There's going to be a whole bunch of push clips that make their way across the door panel. I'll show you what it looks like once it's off. Now we can continue pulling this away from the door. We'll carefully lift it up. Now behind this, there's typically going to be some wiring. As you can tell, one of ours already came disconnected. I'm not super worried about disconnecting any of this. I just want to make sure that I hang it down so it's not going to cause any issues or tugs on the wiring. Then we can move along to this area right here to remove it to gain access to our mounting bolts for our mirror. Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and grab onto this right here. I want to draw it away from the door up along the top, and then we're going to slide it straight up. There we are. We can set this aside. Now let's follow that wiring. We can find the connector. For this, you're going to want to squeeze on 2 tabs. There we are. Of course, you're going to want to inspect both sides of the connector, super important. With the wire free from the door, let's move along to this area right here. You're going to find a foam insulator. We're going to go ahead and carefully take this out of here. We don't want to damage it because we will be reusing it. To remove the mirror, we're going to move up to this screw right here. Looking inside there, you can see an odd shape that you're going to have to use to be able to remove this screw. This is what the tool looks like right here. You need a size 8. As you're doing this, make sure you're holding onto the mirror. Let's give the mirror a little wiggle. We're going to try to separate it from the door. Carefully go ahead and pull it out and away. Pull it right through the outside. There it is, friends. Before we get ready to install our mirror, let's go ahead and remove this foam insert. Now we're going to take the foam insert and we're going to go ahead and put it onto the mirror. While I do this, I want to go ahead and make sure that I put the wiring through the hole. All right, once it's through there, go ahead and press it into place. Now we can go ahead and start putting the mirror into the door. Let's take that wiring and we're going to slide it right on through this hole. With it slid through there, the next thing that we want to pay attention to is this area up along here. There's a little ridge, and if you feel along the top of the mirror, or along the front of it, you're also going to find a ridge. The ridge of the mirror needs to slide underneath this area. So we'll just go ahead and take the mirror, we're going to bring it in at an angle. Slide it in all the way along, and then just go ahead and press it down to lock it in. Now let's make our way on the inside, and we can put in our one mounting bolt. Start that right in there. You want to make sure you start these in by hand. That way there you don't worry about cross-threading them in. After that, go ahead and snug it up. Put in your foam insulator. For this, you want to make sure you have the slot facing up. Now we're just going to go ahead and put it right in there. Reconnect in your electrical connector. Then secure it as needed. Now it's time to put this insulator back in there. You remember we had those two squares that had the white tabs. Looking at the door, you can see our tabs. We're going to go ahead and slide this down on there, and then we're going to make sure that we press the press-in tab straight into its mounting hole. Once it's slid down as far as it can, go ahead and press it in up along the top. Make sure that's nice and secure. Let's take the door panel and get it into its original position. If you were to feel along the inside of the top of the door panel, you're going to find a little bit of a lip. Looking up along the top of the door, very close to the window, there's a little area for the lip to fit into. Let's bring the door panel up nice and high so we can slide it into that particular area. Press it in along the top, slide it down. Along this side right here, there's a little push tab. We're going to make sure that that's lined up. Press it in. Now we're just going to start pressing this down, and you want to take a peek along this area here. All of those push tabs that are on the door panel itself need to make sure they line up with the corresponding holes on the door. Once they are, carefully go ahead and press it all together. Okay, let's start getting these T20 screws back in place. I'm going to start with the lower one, then we'll move up to the top one. Getting this one started can prove to be a little bit difficult, but if you just get your fingers in there, you can do it. Make sure that's nice and tight. Let's slip this back into position. Just gently pry down on that, should slide behind there. Let's get the one for the handle. For this one, you want to be super careful not to drop the bolt down and inside the door panel. If that's the case, typically you're either going to have to use a magnet or even pull off the door panel to retrieve it. There we are. Let's get this trim panel on there. Looking at the back side, you have two ears. Those two ears need to line up with these two holes. Once you have them lined up, go ahead and slide this towards the front of the door, and then you're going to make sure you line up all of your little push pin holes. Let's get the bottom screw in there. Now we can put in our window switch panel. Looking at the bottom side, we want to, of course, reconnect our electrical connector. We're going to press it in, listen for a click. Double check to make sure it's completely secured. Now we're going to start sliding it into position. Pay attention to all of your locking tabs. They need to fit into the door panel, into the corresponding holes. Once it feels as though it's lined up, carefully press it down and into position. If it feels as though it's sticking up at all, just carefully get in between with your small screwdriver and just gently pry, pressing down at the same time. It should want to sit down and flush. Okay friends, so we've got it all back together. The last thing that you're going to want to do is put the key in the on position and test your mirror functionality. Thanks for watching.